degree is I can make a dime cause of integrity. Rap like a phenomenon, sleep for a better dream. Nine is for dead things, smoke for medicine. Big is the only rap I don't think that I'm better than. Yo, when niggas hear this shit, they say it's harsh. Type of shit that make you won't handle a nigga harsh.
Thank you, sir. You are an officer and a gentleman. Did you have any change left over that you could use?
We're live on BlackandNobel.com. Please, BlackandNobel.
From your house. Winning it. You change your cut,
So much transitioning at the time. Because I'm still probation and I ain't got the law. I still don't know how to do it. But I see how it works. Just because I stood up. That's how you can't do it. So I know I work now. But it's different. It's different. Sorry, well, it's my structure. Thursday. Everybody doing pretty good, brother. We're going to go ahead and get whatever you want. Just push me in when you do one. That's 10 by 15. Never stop. We're going to go ahead and get started with the ample. We the people. We the people. The Aboriginal Republic of North America. The Aboriginal Republic of North America. So you got natural Aboriginal rights. Aboriginal rights. As the oldest recorded. Aboriginal Indigenous peoples of the Americas. Aboriginal Indigenous peoples of the Americas. Consisting of. Aboriginal Union of Indigenous Peoples. Living in accord with natural law. Living in accord with natural law. Law of our ancestors. Law of our ancestors. Law of our ancestors. Law of our ancestors. Do hereby recognize. All nationals. Of the Aboriginal Republic of North America. As a unified community. Establish our divine rights. Self-rule. Common defense of our nation. Complete unified will. Progress and prosperity. By and for our people. By and for our people. Establishing justice. Our way of natural law. And equality. And complete autonomy. As a nation. Peace.
Again, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Coming out today, but I can do it by now. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're not going to get into the hour. We're going to get started and help people gain some understanding of something that we're talking about. What we're going to talk about today, for those of you that haven't signed in, here's the sign-in sheet. You can pass that back. Put that on the back here. That way anybody coming in, they can sign in. Each week we have this class here, starting at 11:30. We appreciate everybody for showing up within a timely fashion. We're going to be talking about health today. So we're going to go from a perspective to add to what we dealt with last week. Last week we talked about what? Cosmology. Okay. So, what is cosmology? Study of you. Okay. Study of you. So we're going to talk about health and energy, because of course, when you're talking about you, if you're not healthy, there will be no you. So we're going to talk about health and energy today. And we're going to talk about how it correlates with your energy. Okay, so we're looking at the birth charts right now. As you can see, it goes around and it shows the various signs, as we call them, misnomer signs. We're going to call them polarities. So you have the first polarity, which is Aries, second, which is Taurus, third, which is Gemini, fourth, Cancer, fifth, Leo, sixth, Virgo, seventh, Libra, eighth, Scorpio, 10th, Sagittarius, 9th Sagittarius, 10th Capricorn, 11th Aquarius, and 12th is Pisces. Alright? So each of them correspond with a specific energy. So when we're talking about energetics, a lot of times we don't recognize that we are color vibration. What color is the culmination of all energy? Black. Black is the culmination of all energy. So we know that when we are conceived, a man and a woman comes together, and the seed is planted in darkness. And from the darkness comes the light. A lot of times we're taught that from light comes color. There's no color in light outside of darkness. So from the darkness, you get light. And that's why even in the Bible they say that the darkness is upon us and God spoke and said, let there be light. Because he was able to speak it from darkness. So it's from darkness that everything bursts forth.
cheerful often seems to be enduring, has a sense of purpose, very proud, ambitious, yet eternal, universal spirit, with occasion, astonishing, sensitive. And then you talk about Pisces, which is sensitive, compassionate, helpful, sociable, very its frequency. Hence, high frequency light wave and of light. The lower frequency as you go into the different as you're going from orange into blue, anytime you want to stimulate thought process, always use yellow. Yellow automatically stimulates process. So for your children that are about to go back into school, one of the ways you can help that to happen is by taking a glass jar of that color vibration and putting good water in it, pure water, letting it sit in the sunlight. What happens is, because it's in a picks up that vibration, you let it sit like 24 hours or so in that within the sun and let it just pick up that color vibration and give that water to that person, and it will help them to heal within that emotional body or even in the physical body. Okay? Now, it's interesting because the government uses this time to affect us in many different ways. They send certain energies and vibrations our way, sometimes to distort that which they want to be distorted. I don't know if you've ever paid attention when you leave the city of Philadelphia and you go into other areas, how you can look at the energy shift. Yes. Why is there a shifting of energy? Because they're using light vibrations, and light vibrations are not just color, it's sound waves, it's all different type of things that are occurring. Okay? But you can purposefully learn for yourself how to take these energy waves of light and heal your body, heal your family, heal your environment, to bring about full health. Does that make sense? No, yes?
Yes.
Okay, good enough. As I share, I like to give feedback, because if you're not getting it, then we need to have a dialogue. So within the presentation, once I finish the point, if you have a question, raise your hand or whatever, we'll definitely. So the color red, okay, the red color deals with creativity, courage, and confidence. We feel red, and it is the color of vitality and promotes activity, passion, creativity, and feeling of security. Okay, red harnesses the power of energy, particularly within the base chakra. Okay, and it's connecting the ground of our physical body to the earthbound plane. We talked about this a couple classes back when we talked about taking your shoes off and going into somewhere where you have earth and just standing on the earth and allowing your body to receive that vibration or energy
of the earth. Okay? So we need to make sure that we're doing that on a consistent basis, either once a month, preferably once a week, if possible once a day. You know, the more earth energy you get, the more you'll find that your body heals. Because think about this, for those of you that are mechanical, if you take a battery out of your car and you sit it on the concrete, how long will that battery last? It discharges all the energy. Okay? Now, if you take and put a battery on the earth, will it discharge? Okay, why? Because the earth has an electromagnetic spectrum and it gives energy, not draws energy. What do we walk on every day? Cement, concrete. So if it discharges a body, a battery, what is it doing to your body? So how often are we recharging? You know what I'm saying? So we need to make sure we're recharging our bodies. And so since we know that base chakra, you can actually pull energy from the earth to help heal that base chakra by just simply standing on the earth. All right? And since chakras are connected, it's automatically going to take the energy up and help to heal the other areas as well. Okay? So you'll find that the longest wavelength of all hues of the electromagnetic spectrum is red. So that is the longest spectrum of color. All right? Then you're talking about blue. Blue expands the perception of the unknown. Blue is the color of spirituality, divinity, and it promotes one's ability to perceive into the unknown. So if you're working to help someone change perception or to see, what color vibration should you have them have? Blue. So for those of you that have spouses and you're working to get them to see something and they're unwilling to see, take a cobalt blue container, put some water in it, sit it in some sunlight, and have them drink that water. They don't have to know. Because you're helping the family to heal, okay? So it deals with intentions of and are in blue, as it harnesses the energy of knowledge, decisiveness, and clarity. So you're helping them bring about clarity, okay? The blue energy governs the throat chakra, and those who incarnate under blue are typically loyal, affectionate, and inspiring. I apologize, I'm going to go back real quick because, okay. Those who emanate under the color red are often courageous, extroverted, spontaneous, and confident. So that's the personality trait of someone incarnated under that energy of red. It deals with courage, being extroverted, spontaneous, and confident, while blue, those who incarnate under them tend to be loyal, affectionate, and inspiring. Okay? Now the color yellow. It deals with wisdom. We think in yellow energy, which is associated with the sun's life-giving force and governs the solar plex chakra. Many of the body's systems are activated by the yellow, which brings about clarity, orderliness, happiness, self-esteem, while stimulating curiosity and energy levels. Okay? So if you have someone that you're working to help them with their orderliness, with clarity, with self-esteem and happiness, we get a yellow glass, we put some water and we let it sit in the sun. And we give them that yellow energy. Does that make sense? Okay. So, then we have secondary colors, which are the blending of the primary trinity, which the primary colors again are red, blue, and yellow. Balance and meld. With balance and meld, there's harmony and peace within the mind and the body. You'll find that the secondary colors, what happens is the wavelength and frequencies that come together help to harness the powerfulness and effectiveness in your daily life. So bringing forth the energies of all these three primary colors are going to create other colors within the energy spectrum that's going to help you navigate through certain life purposes. Okay? So we're going to help you to see what some of those other colors are that we can utilize to help with that. Orange, it boosts the appetite for life. Have you ever noticed how vibrant and energetic people are that wear orange? Okay? Orange is one of the most emotional stimulating hues in the spectrum, and its source of creative energy and restrained wisdom. It's driving color of the spleen chakra. Orange helps to encompass a zest for life, enthusiasm, self-assurance, and playfulness. And it fosters the connection with the senses while removing inhibitions. Green, merging the mind of yellow with the spirit of blue. Yes, sir.
Orange is red and
yeah, we'll get that at.
red
Ask
and
me that
yellow.
later.
No.
I believe it's red and yellow.
Red and yellow. And the red is the root chakra, and yellow is the emotional section.
What's going to happen is I'm going to get to the chakras within this. What I'm doing is going through the colors first, and then I'm going to go to the chakras so that you know what the chakras are. So what I'm going to do is going through the colors first, and then I'm going to get to the chakras and how they relate to the colors. Does that make sense? So what I want to do is give everybody a frame of what we're working with, because I went to the chakras first, and it's like, well, you don't know what we're talking about. If I deal with the colors first, then when I get to the chakras, it's a relativity. Okay? All right, so merging the mind with yellow with the spirit of blue. Okay, the balance of the mind and the body when it comes in harmony. This is an ideal vibrational frequency, and green falls along with the center of in the center of the spectrum, and is a hue believed to balance the whole being. The color of nature, it brings about the sense of peace, compassion, and a loving spirit toward Mother Earth and oneness of all things. What color is grass?
Green.
How do you feel when you lay in grass? If you don't have allergies. But you know, it feels really good when you think about when you just run through a field of grass. If you lay in the field of grass, that energetic vibration that you get, that sense of serene and peace and calm. Even if you just look at a green field, think about from a euphoric standpoint mentally where it takes you to and how it helps you to feel. So the chakra ruled by green, the heart chakra is ruled by the green energy, making this an ideal color for those seeking renewal, seeking growth, and expansion with the physical and the spiritual realms. Okay? Then we deal with indigo. Connect with individualized unconscious. Indigo energy governs the brow chakra, which is basically the third eye. Okay? And is the hue that allows one to tap into psychic abilities and strengthen the connection between the conscious and the subconscious. Those looking for spiritual attainment, universal wisdom, and self-mastery often work with indigo, as it amplifies blue energy and turns it inward, allowing for greater levels of growth. Indigo's energy symbolizes the gateway between the finite and the infinite, hence its popular use in mystical endeavors. Those resonating under the hue is typically intuitive, idealistic, truth seekers, and practical, yet fearless. Okay, violet. It is the color of universal consciousness. Inspirational leaders, humanitarians, visionaries, and some of the world's most creative beings resonate strongly with violet frequencies. The ray of spiritual mastery, violet brings together frantic red with the particularity of blue, and creates a stabilizing energy that purifies feelings and thoughts. This color governs the crown chakra and offers inspiration and enhances artistic creativity and talents. Now here's one thing, as you're looking at these colors, think about the people around you. Think about your mate, think about your children, Think about those that you're in relationship with, and think about how you can look at these colors and kind of say, wow, I can see how this color governs their daily life. Okay? So the emotional triggers of color. Of course, red deals with excitement, energy, passion, action, desire, while the orange deals with being an optimist, uplifting, rejuvenating, friendliness, and fun. Yellow deals with confidence, optimism, friendliness, enthusiasm, and happiness, while green deals with reassurance, balance, refreshing, growth, and hope, while blue deals with intelligence, serenity, authority, honesty, trust, while purple deals with creativity, spirituality, individuality, quality, and royalty. Okay? All of these colors trigger emotions in the brain. So when you recognize, if you really take a clear-cut perception of this, you'll see that you can utilize colors to affect things differently for your life and help others affect different things in their life just by using color alone. Okay? This right here is just a picture of the auric field of the earth. If you notice, you're looking at the north and the south pole and how energy comes in the earth and it cyclically goes down and it resonates back. And so it goes like this, right? Just like it does for our body. So just like the earth has an auric field, we have an auric field. How do you restore your auric field and help it to heal is by doing what we talked about earlier, taking your shoes off, planting your feet in the grass, and just standing. Or laying, or whatever have you, so that your body can receive energy from the auric field of the earth. That electromagnetic spectrum can be balanced out. So you balance your energy watermelons, pomegranates, red beans, hot paprika, cayenne peppers. The crown chakra, we deal with violet, we deal with the pineal gland. Okay? Dealing with your brow chakra, which is your third eye, you're dealing with indigo, which is the pituitary gland. Dealing with the throat chakra, the blue energy is dealing with your thyroid. Where your heart chakra, of course, is green and is dealing with the thymus. Your solar plex, the yellow chakra, is dealing with your pancreas. Your orange chakra, which is your spleen, is dealing with gonads. And then your root chakra, which is red, deals with your adrenals. Okay? So there are different gemstones that can help you balance out your chakras as well. Where do gemstones come from? The earth, right? So since they come from the earth, and we talk about standing on the earth and receiving that vibrational energy, let's say you don't have time to get out physically to the earth. What can you use to now heal those energies? You take those gemstones, you sit them in sunlight, let them sit for the day, and now you can actually put those gemstones on those different areas to help revitalize your body structure. Does that make sense? Okay? So when you're dealing with the base chakra, you're dealing with coral, garnet, jasper, rhodonite, ruby, smoky quartz. When you're dealing with the spleen, you're talking about agate and carnelian. When you're dealing with the solar plex, you're dealing with amber, citrine, gold, pyrite, rutilated quartz, and tiger's eye. When you're dealing with green, which is the heart chakra, you're dealing with bloodstone, I don't know how to pronounce that. Yeah, emerald, jade, rose quartz, and tourmaline. Y'all can write them down. And then when it comes to the throat chakra, which is the blue, amazonite, aquamarine, azurite, lapis lazuli, sapphire, sodalite, and turquoise. When you're dealing with the third eye, we're dealing with amethyst, fluorine, and sodalite. And when you're dealing with the crown chakra, we're talking about calcite, diamond, Herkimer diamond, moonstone, opal, quartz, and zircon. So each of these things help to bring about different energetic centers. Yes, ma'am. It is being recorded, and I'm screen sharing. So if you go back to the recording, you can actually pause on the recording and write that stuff down. So each of these, we talked about what each of these centers bring about. So that's why even though the chart shows a personality type, it shows what it helps with, and it shows the how over concerns to do with what it has to do with. The reason why I didn't necessarily go through that aspect on this specific slide is because we went through it earlier on all the various, like just a culmination. So you can actually pull this up once again on the, and if you need to take detailed notes on some of this, you can pause and be able to take those notes down. Does that make sense?
Can you screenshot it? Because it's not, is this showing on the screen?
It's showing on the screen. That's a different recording.
Okay.
Right, so this right here is very specifically, I'm screen sharing as we're speaking, okay? Now, from a physiological standpoint, we just talked about the different areas that color vibration actually affects. So here you can see your endocrine glands and your hormones and how they relate to those various glands that we talked about. So how do you affect change and healing in those glands? You can use color vibrations to do so. Does that make sense? So if we go back right here, remember we talked about the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, the thyroid, the thymus, the pancreas, the gonads, and the adrenals. Gonads for women are the ovaries. Okay? We come forward and we look at the hypothalamus, we looked at the thyroid, we looked at the stomach, the duodenum, the liver, the pancreas, the testes. We look at all these different areas, and each of them are regulated by that endocrine system. So if you want to have an effect in your energetics, all you have to do is work with the color vibration relative to either actual color, you can deal with it through the food, or you can deal with it through going to the earth and healing that way. So have you ever heard somebody, having a clay, just getting in mud bathing? The reason why they mud bathe is because not only are they receiving healing and energy from the earth, they're also receiving minerals from the earth as well. Okay? So why understanding the meaning of color is vital. Whether you're working with chakra stones or whether you're using healing and seeking counsel from color healers, understand that every human found beneath of these 7 rays of colors, their personalities are exhibited through the rays and these energies, and they work to help alter either the physical, the mental, the spiritual, or the astrological body, and so it helps to bring about balance in your body and in nature. So when it's a wonderful thing to heal through foods, but food is not just what you eat, it's also the vibration of color that you receive on a consistent basis. Does that make sense to everyone? All right, so that's basically the end of the presentation piece. Do you have any questions?
Question for you. You see it's dealing with the root chakra, or is it the sacral chakra?
Red is the root chakra. Go back to that real quick. Okay, see how red is dealing with the root chakra? So red is the root chakra, orange is the next, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet.
Can you, question,
Yeah.
can you use all of the gemstones at one time?
Yes, you can. You want to place them on. So you can actually have a blue light, you can have a red light, you can have a yellow light, and you can actually focus those on that specific area. And your skin will absorb that color and help to heal the body. You know what? I pulled this from so many different sources. So if you I have a gemstone book. See, I have so many different sources that some of this comes from. For me, one of the things I like, which is kind of simplified, is Louise Hay. Louise Hay, she has really good information on color vibration. So when you're doing work field and light, and there's another book by John Ott called Health and Light. It's an older book, so you would probably have to get it. John Ott, Health and Light, is extremely good book. It talks about energy vibration relative to health and healing. Any other questions relative to this?
Troy, you never talked about the sound. Did you talk about sound?
You know why? I was trying to condense this, and the problem with it is that I could have went down so many different rabbit holes. You can look. I would simply do this. Go and Google sound and color, and what will happen is it'll show you sound vibrations relative to color. One of the things is that there's a certain megahertz of color that lowers the energy vibration naturally. So you have to be cautious when you're dealing with what radio stations you listen to, because those radio stations will determine the frequency of energy you're receiving. And if those energies being received of that of low vibration, it will lower your ability to perceive. It'll lock you into lower brain function. So you'll find that when you listen to like Bach, Beethoven, and all that kind of stuff on the radio, they're played at very high frequencies. So it raises your consciousness and raises your energy vibration. The vibrations are played at a very, very low vibratory frequency. So what it does, it locks you into lower brain functioning. If you saw this right here, we talked about this. What you'll find is that hip hop stations and things like that, because of the frequency in which they project the sound on you with, it locks you into this lower brain functioning, just the brain stem. And when it locks you into that, what you'll find is that what people do with the lower stem vibrations of the body, they're dealing with the ability to eat, the ability to house themselves, and to have sex. That's it. So they never get into those other areas. So what I'll do is next time we do health, I'll do the topic seven circuits of the brain, and the energy that each of those lobes help you to master. And one thing you'll find, in order to master an area, you must be one lobe higher. Because you can't master the lobe that you're locked in. You can't deal with it from that plane. You have to go higher to master that the lower lobe. Does that make sense? Because once you get to the 7th lobe, to master that, now you're going into your crown chakra and dealing with from your spiritual self. Cautious to the energy vibrations that come across you based upon just radio stations. because the radio stations you listen to, they purposely have them on a lower frequency. You know, why does the radio station one go 900 megahertz while another one goes 2400 megahertz? Why?
And just by the way, just to add to that, because this is this is a big issue when it comes to music. And when you study classical music, because I did study classical music at one point in time, because I used to sing classical music. One of the biggest problems in tuning is middle C, natural middle C, you know, is a 432 hertz. But we find that they've shifted it up to 440, and everything is coded around 440. So when you're talking about the radio stations and just the music, everything is at 440. So it's like your body being, and 432 is 9, that's sound of space. 448, that's dealing with the inner biology. So everything they're doing at 440 is to enclose, it's going on the inside as opposed to you getting signal from the cosmos. So that's very important for people who are into music, is to understand how that actually changes everything.
They're trying to hear you, so you have to speak up. They're sitting there like this, like.
I can't. Okay, hold on.
Stand up.
All right, I was just talking about the music frequency. He was talking about sound and color, but
Speak loud.
I've trained as a classical music singer before, and one of the major issues with our kids and just things, the way they teach music, is the middle C. Does anybody know what middle C is? Middle C is that white key in the middle of the keyboard that lets you play all the octaves, lower to higher. The middle C frequency, natural frequency, is supposed to be 432 hertz. What they do is they tune it up to 440. So that changes everything. So when you listen to music and it's at 440, see, it's going on the inside. It's not going outside. Music is supposed to like help you create. 432 is 9. 9 is the number of what? Space. But 8 is your biology. 440, 4 plus 4 is 8. It's going on the inside. So when you listen to all these people on the radio station, what they're doing is they are changing your body. It's affecting your body. So be careful on that. That's what I want to mention. That's all.
Appreciate that. And you know, one of the things you'll find is that energy frequency, all they have to do is change the megahertz and they can change your whole energy. So they use this as a biological weapon against you.
Right.
How do you defend yourself against this is by having an understanding that you have the ability to control your color vibration just by utilizing some of the techniques we talked about today. Okay? So, quick question I always ask, was this helpful?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So for one person,
Yeah, yes, sir. Very helpful. Except you missed one color, George. You missed one.
what's that, black?
No,
Yeah, you did
no, you mentioned black. Black has a high frequency. Remember, the other one, on the other side of black. White.
No, we ain't even talking about that.
Well, black has the highest frequency, right? So
Black has the highest and most dense frequency.
I didn't hear that part because I was thinking psychology.
Yeah, black has the highest and most dense frequency, while red has the longest frequency. White has the no frequency.
But you wearing white. I'm wearing white. He's wearing white.
It's okay.
What is it
So
called?
the spectrums of the sun can get through with no problem. So it's not blocking any ray whatsoever. When you wear a specific color, whatever color you wear, when the sun hits your body's absorbing that color. So just imagine if I'm feeling down, right? What color should I wear? Let's look at that. What color should I wear?
Red.
Or
Green.
orange. The reason why I say orange is because it says orange is uplifted. Red as well is a good color because orange is within that spectrum of red. Okay? If I need to create something, what color should I wear?
Red.
Okay? You can use red or purple, but which one is specifically for creativity. Purple, right? So when you're dealing with the different things, if you have, this is why it's good to plan your day ahead. If you know you have something you have to do in a given next day, wake up with the frequency that's going to support you through that day. Okay? So that's a beautiful thing that you can use to begin to energetically boost your abilities to grow and achieve faster.
So ideally, you would really want to, if possible, expose yourself to all these colors every day.
Every day, but the thing is that if you have a specific goal in mind, you can utilize this to energetically house or sustain or support that which you're looking to do.
So is there any way that one can, through in your home, you talk about feng shui.
Feng shui, yes.
You know, structuring your home environment so that it's conducive, is most conducive to positive growth, and what way can you use the colors and the sound in the home, and how can you put it in the home so you can, you paint all your walls all the different colors?
You can use it through light bulbs, having a specific color light in a room. Okay, you can use it through the paint on the wall, you can use the color of the carpet, you can use the color of the furniture, you can use it through having paintings. There's many different ways in which you can do it. It's really just having that energy, that vibrational energy within that room. Does that make sense? And you can change that. I mean, like you have multiple colors in one room, a light, and you turn on the light you want, that's going to create what you need for that given time. So if you're working on a project, you want yellow light. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think, they call the red light special? Right? Because, I know TLC did a song, Red Light Special, right? So, we can use colors to begin to change frequencies to help our children. We don't think about those things. So
Let me like in my apartment, I have it. You should see my apartment. It's like a color, like crazy colors. Like I have turquoise, burgundy, I have blue, I have pink, green, and I've been there for about 5 years now. And everybody that comes into my apartment automatically they feel cheap. Well, they always tell me, your place is a vacation home, and I only have a 1-bedroom apartment. But because the energy has been pouring over 4 or 5 years is awesome. I'm not saying that for nothing, but I created that space. And I use colors as pictures.
Are you talking to him alone? You're not talking loud, and everybody's in the class, brother. So I need you to, I always get anybody speaking, I need you to speak loud, only because people are sitting there like this trying to hear you.
I try not to project my voice so much, but
no, I need you to holler because you have a soft voice.
My apartment is an example of what the brother is talking about. I have all the rooms in my apartment painted a certain color to reflect what he's talking about, and I have light bulbs in different rooms. Like in my bedroom, I have a purple. In my bedroom, I have green. In my living room, I get pictures, turquoise, like it was real nice. Over the years, everybody coming into my apartment say the same thing. I feel good. I feel like I was on vacation home, and it's not even vacation. I ain't got no jacuzzi. It's good. They feel good. So the color. Paint your walls. Like it took me about 2 months to paint the whole house. Paint your walls to reflect what you need and what you want. So it works. It works. I can use my phone. Try it. I don't know. This place is hot.
That's a good right?
Right?
He ran out, so the best to use the phone. All right, so thank you guys very much for your attention, your attentiveness. I trust that this added some value to your life as we talk about each week. I work hard to make sure that whatever is presented adds value to your life. And so as we're sitting in class and things, please make sure we're taking copious notes. Copious just means detailed. You can always go to Arna Philly, just go directly to YouTube, put in Arna Philly. We work to record the classes each week, and so definitely appreciate your time. So with that, I am going to turn it over to the gentleman I have such a great deal of respect for, and he needs no introduction, but every time I will introduce him because I believe he deserves that. He's taken time out to head up this nation, Aboriginal Republic of North America, to help take us to new heights, deeper depths. You know, he brought on a new cabinet, and we're working diligently to take the world by storm. But as any new nation, it takes time. So just like Egypt was not built in a day, Arna's not built in a day. So we are a young nation, but we are growing. And we're going to be growing with speed and boldness. So we welcome you to consistently join in. And so with that, you know, I'll introduce you to Chief Ali. Definitely appreciate you, brother. Yes, sir.
Peace, everybody. All right, I'm not going to take all of your time. I want to be as efficient as possible with these presentations that we're going to be doing on Sunday. We came to BlackandNobel to assist with the local leadership getting access to more people. We also want to help with a project that we're on, and we also want to talk about a resource group that we have for the coming Millions March. All right, so let me get myself ready here so I can get all my websites up. Don't know where we at. Is this anybody's first time in our class? Never been in our class before? All right. Okay, great. Great. Are you new to BlackandNobel? Never been to BlackandNobel before? Cool. All right, so our primary discussion surrounds around the concept of indigenous government, which means an example would be like you see the Seminoles, the Sioux, the Navajo, and other groups of people. Sometimes they have reservations, they have all kinds of things that are surrounding their own political entity, even though they're still participatory in the present commercial governmental design around that. I'll get back online and show you some of these websites. In class, we're going to pass it back. Pass to the back, anybody who didn't give it. What you're looking at is something that we formed called the Indigenous Resource Group. If you're on social media, you can get online on Facebook, and we have a group for the Indigenous Resource Group. I'm just going to read exactly what's here so you can see our objective. And this is an opportunity for you if you run a business, or if you are linked with us in any way, with Arna, which is nationality, or if you're just an independent businessman or woman to make some money, and to touch into a network. All right. So what is the Indigenous Resource Group? This is not an Arna group. This is a non-denominational, non-organizational group, many different people, but it's designed to do a few things. And we had our first few meetings in New York. If you are open tomorrow to come into the National Black Theater, there'll be a much station into either a law, a health, education, arts and culture, have a business or something that you want to contribute to, you can participate in this thing that we're talking about. So let me read what it says. The purpose of Indigenous Resource Group is to create a non-denominational, multi-organizational network of indigenous peoples globally with a focus on financial, real estate, manufacturing, and service-oriented business, to develop a set of objectives in writing to deliver to this year's Millions March leadership as a post-implementation plan for the millions in attendance to invest in to create a diverse methodology of investment strategies amongst indigenous peoples in the Americas in order to do business with indigenous peoples in the diaspora and indigenous Africans on the African continent. And some of the things that we can do, we set up a national treasury. Those are just some forecasted things possibly that can be done. Now let me tell you the importance of it to you here in this particular group. Like I said, if you have a business or something that you're doing, you can participate. If you're not aware of what I'm talking about, what's happening this year is that the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, and Minister Louis Farrakhan is calling the groups to come to DC to discuss what's happening with the police brutality or police terrorism, or what do you want to call it. The march is labeled justice or else, and there's other things that are supposed to be discussed there. So we're going to take some time to talk about that today. We're going to talk about it under the guise of structure. All right. So if you've been watching online, CNN, some of the news has been reported, some have not, just regular YouTube videos. Various ministers from Minister Farrakhan's group and other people have been kind of rallying up. Key issue though, to my knowledge at this point, there's no written objective. There's no written objective, which means that millions of people are going to come to Washington, D.C., and there's nothing on paper to say what is the pre or post plan. So we take issue with criticism without offering something. And the offer is, other people are watching us, right? And let's say if you were to go to Brooklyn in Williamsburg. When you see the Jews walking around and they own all the property, that's a result of them meeting, putting together plans, talking to each other, and then carrying something out. It would be a waste of time for us to get together with millions of people and have not one organization to put something in writing to say, well, these are some things that we can do here, now, and after. So because we didn't see that, we put together something in writing, and this, by the time we come to our summit, which I'm going to announce, will be in a pamphlet form so everybody can get it, PDF form. Minister Farrakhan will have it, and other leaders who are helping and assisting him will have it. All right. So what are some of the things that we're talking about? Let's go down to this. Let's see if I can give you an idea of what I'm talking about with this particular. All right, let's go to slide 2. All right. So if we get, let's say if we get 1 million adults, and that's happened before. So the Million Man March had over 2 million, all of them were adults, but it was well over 1 million adults. If we get 1 million adults that come to this particular thing, which is highly likely that it will be larger than the Million Man March because of the climate, the political climate, the things that are happening, it's highly likely our people will end up spending about $1.5 billion that weekend. $1.5 billion. Now, consider that if that happens, that shows how quickly we can be assembled to direct resources to do something by people who have the influence. Minister Farrakhan has the influence to do such a thing, and the people who will help him. All right. So what would that $1.5 billion be spent on? Some of the people who are in the area will drive, so they'll spend gas money to get there, and they use their own vehicles, or they're already in DC. Probably about 65% of the people will be from outside areas where they have to take a bus, a train, or a plane, round trip. So they're going to spend that money on getting there, which means that the airlines, the train, Amtrak, whichever one you're going to use, and the buses are all going to get paid. And therefore, they are all for the march. Consider that the only people who are going to really be against the march are some redneck folk who have no investment. People who have investment, they don't care if it's Minister Farrakhan, they don't care if it's Adolf Hitler. So if you're going to spend money at their hotel, they want it. All right? Hotel reservations. All right? People are going to stay in the hotels. Rental cars. The restaurants, they're going to love it because you're going to buy up all their food. Regular shopping and vendors who are there. All right? And then people who just contributed and donated. All of that energy is going to be put into it. So, question is, how can we tap in? All
I can retap in. All right, so our plan is we have a tourism, hospitality, and travel business where if you go to our website, we have two of them, Pan-African Travel or to Honor Travel, you can book your plane, your train tickets, your hotel reservation, and your rental cars on our website. So our plan is, because I don't know of any other black ones like that, we're going to put it inside of this book and say, and promote that you can book it with us. And we have a network of people who run this travel business. So that says at least we're getting money to come back to a black business. And our work is, how many black businesses exist in these areas so that we can have a catalog of people who pledge to say, when I rent my hotel, I rent it from Crown, whatever the hotel is that the brother owns, Michael, whatever his name is, Crown Plaza Hotel instead of Marriott. You know what I mean? Or whatever it may be. The point is, we should understand that we are in an alchemical operation to retain our own energy. And if we continue to leak our own energy to other people without first considering ourselves, then we commit what is really a cosmic sin. All right? So these are some areas that we're looking at. Imagine, and our lecture, our part of our lecture today is, should we march 1 million or should we nationalize 1 million? That's the question. Should we march 1 million or should we nationalize 1 million? Can't stop marches. Marches are actually good because it brings people opportunity to bring people together to make a communication to get a focus. But I know at this time that our people at least need the offer of a unified body politic that can address these things as a unit. We're going to address them as different organizations. It's going to splatter itself all over the place. And next week the police will shoot down another brother or sister or child, or slam a little 12-year-old or a girl on the ground who came from a pool party. These things are happening because we are letting them happen because we have not taken better roads or decisions. So, without being disrespectful to my elders and the leadership, I'm not saying that they have not considered these things, but it's not being talked about enough, and the march is in 2 months. It's in 2 months. So we have taken upon ourselves to do this work, to put this in writing. We'll have it in writing so you can get it, so people online can get it. You can go to, you can stay abreast to what we're doing even if we're not in a class like this. All right? How many people think it's a good idea for us to do something since we don't have a written plan? Can you say Amen Ra?
Amen Ra.
All right. So that's the first part. I know sometimes we get on the boring stuff. Y'all want me to say something else. But it's important for us to deal with those things. The second thing is, all right, these millions of people, what can they do? Troy just talked about health, right? He went through a whole thing. Imagine, and we don't even have to imagine, we can do it now. Imagine, but let's bring it into reality, if we could take some of the resources that we can accumulate from having a body politic. Let's say we had 1 million people, and they all contributed to a treasury. They paid taxes to their government, and didn't pay taxes to the other government. Paid tax to their real government, all right? And we could form things like this, or fund things like this, Aboriginal Medical Association, all right? So we came across some money, so by next year, we're gonna have our own healing village, all right? We're not gonna say where it's gonna be, but we have the resources and the money to do it, and we're gonna do it. But if we have a greater network of people that can do that, we can create something like that all across the country. You know what I mean? So that's our goal. We're going to have one spot, so starting in the spring, you'll be able to come to our healing village, but we want to make it popular, all right? So these are some of the things that we're talking about. See, we can't talk about our health and continue to not have a programmatic, structural implementation of institutions to protect us. Because otherwise, your children won't even know what a seeded watermelon is. All right? They won't even know. If we're not keeping the seeds, planting the seeds, and growing the watermelons. It doesn't take a lot to do that. All right? These are things that we're going to do. All right? So that component will have a small agricultural aspect to it and a seed bank. We've been working on that for about 1.5 years. And we can make we can make products out of it. So some of you who might have ailments in here, we bring the alchemy, we bring the energy, we bring the obelisk, we bring the healing modalities and the things so you can supplement, but it's not enough. It's a beginning, not enough. But what it does negate is if we develop more of those things, less of our people will be going into C, all right, which is a Monsanto-owned company at this point, all right, and we need a better education on what to take, all right. So the educational component goes as far as you get up, right, and you say, oh, I want to take something to enhance my body because I know the food is being depleted of its nutrients. I'm going to take these vitamins. And what you don't know is that vitamins are not the best mode of nutritional supplement for those who have the genetic anatomy and physiology that we have. Because it's adding something into it that's toxic to our body. Amines are toxic to the black body. So when you're taking vitamins, you're increasing the level of amines. All right, and you don't want to do that. So we need to be able to teach our herbalists and other things that those things. Go ahead, brother.
How do you spell amines?
Amines?
Yeah, amines, yeah.
Amines is spelled A-M-I-N-E-S. Amines, like amino acid.
Oh, okay.
All right, so some things we're taught that are healthy for us, we're not given the details. There's different types of amino acids. So they'll tell you, take these pills and supplements, they have amino acids and they're going to build you up. But you don't know, you might not know that there's primary, secondary, and tertiary. And the tertiary are the ones for the black people. But none of them are in GNC. None of them are on Amazon.com. All right. You can get them from certain foods. Go ahead.
And also, how do you spell tertiary?
Tertiary is Tertiary. All right, so we're talking about products and services that can be delivered, and we're talking about a culture of healing. So what Troy went over was like the preliminary communication, just with some corrections, because we're not Indians and we don't have chakras. All right, even though we borrow that terminology for them, they have a whole ideology behind those things. So we need to really invest in the quality education that our people left, because it heightens the ability to heal. And that's a big issue. You might think you have a nutritional problem when it's actually a psychosomatic problem, right? Which means that it has nothing to do with what you're eating while you're having that ailment. It has nothing. You could be on a raw food diet and still have it, and not know what is the catalyst of the causation. So we have to be able to identify those particular things. Right. So anything that's dealing with health in the human body, you can ask those questions. You know, brother asked me in the back, well, you know, when I go vegan or raw food, I'm starting to lose the mass. And what the raw foodists will tell you is, well, you don't need to be eating anything that you cook, which is ridiculous. Doesn't even make any sense. Because there are certain things that are designed for the environment that we live in North America that will help you keep mass, which might be something that you want to do. Because what you'll find out is that a lot of times you start going into muscle atrophy. You start losing all your muscles because the food that you're eating is not the quality, even though you're trying to eat the best food. You see what I'm saying? So you might need to add in some potatoes, some quinoa, some of the heavier grains, the rices, because these things, although they are not of the same quality of fruits, but they have the same impact on the body. And without going into certain terms, fruits will be something that we call monosaccharides. So they're water soluble. So they're going to keep your body clean. First thing you recognize when you eat a lot of fruit, you go to the bathroom, because they clean out your lymphatic system and your blood. But you also need certain polysaccharides, because the polysaccharides do not dissolve in water, right? And they're going to help build the membranes on your cells that are not going to dissolve in water. They're going to build your myogenetic factors in your muscle tissues so you can retain mass and high levels of carbon. So eating like wild or black rice, some quinoa and other things like that will help. So if you want to keep mass, you can get your oily fruits like your olives, increase the olives, increase the avocados, increase the wild rices, increase the potatoes. If you can get the purple ones, it's best. Higher iron content and carbon. Quinoa, amarants. Those are your grains. You know what I mean? So you get sea moss. Make sure it's tropical based. Even the certain beans. Beans are nitrogen fixators, but the ones that are in the tropics are not. So you can get certain beans that are from the tropics that'll help you keep mass. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got to think about that. I don't lift weights, but I can maintain a body at 185, 190 pounds of straight muscle without lifting any weights. You see what I'm saying? So, and even though we don't live in a tropical environment. So it's just a case of understanding what you're eating. You might look at a label, this is just for your health. You might look at a label and it says quinoa has all the essential amino acids. But it's not telling you whether it's primary, secondary, or tertiary. And let me break down what I mean by those three things. Primary amino acids are the types of amino acids that are in white people's bodies. They are amino acids without carbon rings. Say it again?
We need it.
We don't need primary amino acids. Primary amino acids are found in the flesh of animals, certain animals, like cows. If you get a bull, then you have a natural animal as opposed to a cow. All right. The bull is the descendant of the what's this animal? Forget the name of it sometimes. Starts with the A. But anyway, it's the original cattle. Forget the name of it. A cow is a hybrid, and it has primary amino acids in its tissues. All right. Say it again. Go ahead, say it.
The beef or the male, the cow is the sheep. It's like a chicken and the hen.
Right. But the cow itself as an animal is an animal that was taken out of Africa and hybridized. It was fed a certain dietary regimen in India, in the parts that was brought into the Mediterranean, and it's not in the same structure. The bull, which kept the same genetics, the buffalo, the bull, didn't lose everything that the female animal did. And the female animal, because of the higher levels of mitochondria that it got, is giving birth to weaker species of itself, preferably the female aspects. I forget the name of this animal. I want to mention it. It'll come to me. But anyway, it's a lot of animals that have been hybridized on the earth. And if you're going to eat, see, if you're going to look at people in indigenous societies, they still have the original animals, and even though they're eating flesh, you see what I'm saying? These are tertiary carboxylate structures, where the animals have the same genetic structure since they were created on the earth, literally. So we can't even compare. So, our ancestors ate flesh. Listen, they had a whole different pool of animals that they're dealing with. You're dealing with stuff that's not even real. All right. So the tertiary amines or carboxylate structures have carbon rings around it, so it neutralizes the nitrogen, which is toxic to the black body. All right. So there's certain foods that you can eat, mainly your tropical foods. That you're going to get from the objects. Go ahead, guys.
You said primary amino acids. You said that's the kind of hybrid animal base. But what are the other ones with the carbon rings called?
The other ones with the carbon rings are secondary and tertiary.
Tertiary?
Yeah, tertiary means 3, secondary means 2.
Okay.
2. And what the difference between the secondary and tertiary is more carbon is in it. So you can eat certain foods that have like quinoa. Quinoa's amino acids are tertiary amino acids because it's carbon rings. So you're not going to find yourself eating a lot of quinoa and get fat. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to you eating a whole bunch of boiled eggs, you see what I'm saying? It's going to give you more albumin, more primary amine structures, and it's going to make you sick. Okay? Alright, so I think and if you have any health questions, you can get it. So we came here today to talk about a few things. August 28th through the 30th at District 1199C, we're having our annual Aboriginal Summit. 3-day event. Alright, the first day, you can get tickets here at BlackandNobel. If you get your tickets from BlackandNobel, you get a free book with it. Alright, Star Prophecy. And they have the tickets on sale today. Alright, if you want to get the tickets. So day 1 will be myself and Dick Gregory. We have a free dinner that evening. We're going from about 5:30 to 10. Alright, there'll be vendors there. First night, everybody knows who Dick Gregory is, so he's coming to talk about what happened with the Charleston 9 when the guy went down there and killed, those 9 people. What was happening? There were exercises that were happening with the Department of Homeland Security and FBI that same day. Military exercises to thwart the same type of activity. We got all the documents and paperwork before the event even happened. Same way it happened in Sandy Hook. Had military exercises the day before, 2 days before, and then the event happened. So we have to look at the schematic of what this was all about. And then now, the upsurgence of, they just had a parade or whatever you want to have called, where a motorcycle gang came about 3 weeks ago and rode down Allegheny Avenue and shut down Broad Street with their Confederate flags in the hood. No police to stop. They stopped up themselves. Throughout the country, they even threatening to come to the Millions March and shoot it up. Literally, I'm not saying that they're going to do it. I'm just saying it's not like a race problem doesn't exist here, but there's parties that want to amplify it. You have to understand why they want to do that at this particular time. All right, so he's going to come and talk about that, and we're going to be talking about what we're talking about tonight. Should we nationalize, or march a million, or nationalize a million, and talk about this business plan. So the 28th will be Dick Gregory. 29th, we're doing our tour. So at 9 a.m. we'll be at Turtle Island statue, Chief Tammany, Front and Market Street. We're going to do a 2-hour tour of the city to show you the history of Philadelphia and the founding of America and where you played a role at and how that role diminished. How strategically, say it again, guys?
I'm sorry, that's on the 29th?
29th,
So
that's
the
Saturday
day of the
morning.
summit, right?
Huh?
So that's the day of the summit, right?
Yep.
So 29th, if you come at night, you said
At Front and Market Street, right in front of Chief Tammany statue, we're going to do our tour. We're going to do our tour of the city, and we're going to hit that statue. We're going to hit the parks, Congo Square, or what's called Washington Square. Show you some of the symbolism there. Come to City Hall, and then we're going to walk all the way up to the Art Museum. All right, so wear your walking shoes. Good exercise that day. Then from 1 to 4, we have our all-star basketball game. We haven't narrowed it down. We're either going to do it at Lemon Hill Park, which is right off of Kelly Drive, or on 10th and Bainbridge, which is a park that has some better facilities, some power. So we're going to have a vegan barbecue out there from about 1 to 4. Bring your family out. Any of y'all want to play in the game, you can get in the game. Just some fun. And then that evening, we're doing our seminar material. We're going to have the midwives come through to talk about midwifery. Sister Abba is going to lead speaking on that. We're going to have an economic seminar from Sister Shanquell, where she's talking about honor travel. You can sign up for honor travel. And we're going to, again, propose to this body that they use our business for the reservation. So, a few hundred. As groups, no matter how small or large they are. All right? So this is my mantra from this point on. Any so-called leader amongst your people that is not talking about forming a united body politic is an agent by default. The reason why they're agent by default is that because they have not come to the conclusion of the seriousness of what is happening to black people and where it's leading to. It doesn't mean you have to abandon your primary objectives in your organization or your business or whatever it may be. But if you're talking about any socio-political, cultural, liberating operations inside of your cultural socio-political institutions, organizations, you should have a desire to have a unified body politic to address what is happening to your people. If you have another proposal, we will give you the floor and tell us what the hell we can do to get these popos off of us and everything else that's been on us since 1555. It doesn't make sense. All right? Now, the key things that stop that are that you have groups of people who have advantage based on you being divided or staying in certain camps of thought, religious, cultural ideology that is feeding them personally and not you as a group. That's just a real situation. And it's a very controversial thing to talk about amongst our people, but it's very real. It's very real. So, the issue with our political status is not some great giant thing that you have to figure out. It's a very simple thing. It becomes more technical depending on what you're trying to do for your own personal life. But for the group, we just need a structure. We need a structure. It don't have to be the Mexican Empire, it don't have to be Arna, it don't have to be, it doesn't matter what the name is or whatever it is, it just needs to exist. And there are primary areas that we need to deal with first, all right? Where our money is being taken away from us, or because we're not united, we're having these, these issues. Go ahead.
What happened to the land that the Empress had? We know she passed away in the sun. Is that still, they still have title to that land? And if so, why haven't we come under that? Because we can't do anything without land. We can't be free without land.
Right. Some myths that I have not solved, but I'm still asking questions. I never saw the title to the land. Or I never saw any business operations, even while she was here, take place on the land. The only thing that I saw, and I was there, was that there were 70,000 acres that were under the ownership of a relative of hers in the past, and that there was a dispute about the ownership that led her to do two things. The first thing was she made a claim against the state of Louisiana for title to that 70,000 acres. I don't know if there was a deed. I don't know what. It was all, whenever we tried to find out, it was always cloudy. And it's cloudy to this day. The second thing that she did, she stated that there were other documents that were supposed to be released in 2013 about a private company that had participated in a purchase of the land grants that originally went to her great-great-great-grandfather. She passed, of course, and I haven't heard anything from that. Now, the dispute over the Empress is, of course, over the Louisiana Purchase and land grants that a family member of hers received that covered a very large amount of land. With the Washita people who are here presently, her son, and some of the other officials and other people, I have not had a clear communication on it. And I've been trying since about 1999 to get a clear communication on the status of the land. Do we own any land? If we do, what can we do at all? And since she's passed, it's become more cloudy. When she got sick, it became more cloudy, and then since she passed, it became more cloudy. So,
Are you familiar with Prince Big Bagby, Minister of Interior?
No.
I think you dealt with him. He was there during the time you were in Trenton.
Okay.
That's the brother.
I might have met him.
Yeah.
I might have met him.
I had contact with him. If you're interested in talking with him.
Yeah.
Talking about going down to Virginia on the first of this month in regards to the land there, Monkey Nation. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely. If
they do have land, or somehow we should connect with them, come under that, because we do need some land. I know back in the 1800s it was almost 1 million acres of land, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That we lost. Right. That we lost. The only other group that I know that's doing that and it has an operational unit is Tamaray, and I talked to Brother Malik Yell sometimes, who is one of their ambassadors. They have some land in North Carolina, and they're doing, they're doing some stuff. They're doing vegetation, they're doing water, they're doing those things. I would be more than willing to work with people, and we'll have the assets to purchase or continue to grow and expand. And then the question also becomes, the last thing is, what are we going to do on the land while it's there? Our objective is, we've already highlighted a piece of land to get in February. Our objective is to run a healing village, a water business, to work with the brother who does the solar paneling, Brother Ralph Muhammad, who's going to be at this year's international conference. If you want to come and buy paneling, own infrastructure, or if you're doing something independent, that would be a good place to come purchase. Every year the International Locks Conference is ran, so you can connect with Mother Okosua and the Kumba family, but there'll be people there for that type of resource. So the energy part, and then we're dealing with real estate. One of the things that's available, that when you do get on some land, is that you can get an earth built for about $60,000 if people have that kind of investment. So so we want to get a few of those built as a part of the healing village, and then depending on the size of the land, to make it a marketable real estate thing, because the average person who comes and they get an average mortgage is going to pay upwards of $200,000 plus. Imagine being able to build something for about $60,000, right? That you can run on solar, that is fractally proper. Not fractally proper. A lot of the energy in your homes, the reason why you argue and you fighting in your homes, because you live in cubic rooms, and all of the energy is trapped in not in the open space, fractally. So our people built circular dome type of things so that they could have energy properly operating there in their homes. So a lot of the things that we've learned, we have been disadvantageous to us. And so I'm definitely willing to work with him and connect with him, and then amplify whatever he's doing, invest in it if they have land, and then the agricultural component. Okay, yeah, before we leave, definitely. And anybody else that has any type of land investment that you are participating in, please share numbers with us so that we can connect with you. Because we got people who we connected with already, and then whatever you're doing, we can amplify. Because the idea behind anything that's successful is, it's like a cell in the body. If you can reproduce it wherever you're at, so-called franchise, it becomes a success unit. So if you have all these indigenous groups that are doing similar things and they're spaced out, then you have a network. Or if you're in this area, we got that over there, you're in this area, you got that over there. And we have labor and a whole bunch of things that can be invested in. But it has to be under our political status, and that's where you come into a few things. The business model. All right? The business model. We will get resistance from being recognized by state or by federal entities in the way that they do it under the Bureau of Indian Affairs or under a state entity of the same type. And so if you don't want to struggle with them, you can create the type of businesses and trusts that allow for you to have your own free civic, political, and economic operations, and come out of the tax bracket with it, so that you don't create an injury for yourself. All right? And you don't have to be flashy about it. Just once you do that and you set up that construct, you just run it. That's it. And stay up with your paperwork. We have examples of that not happening and what happens when you don't have the business focus. Dr. York being a primary example. You create a cultural structure, the paperwork is crazy, and then you're doing a lot more of this, And then when you're doing that, and they start sifting through what you're doing business-wise, they say, oh, okay, well, now we can run down on them because you haven't paid your taxes. Well, this entity is split into different entities, and then all we do is put an agent in, and now we're coming in. And then the cultural aspect, when you get too cultish, you see what I'm saying? And then they run down on you for the accusations that they ran down, whether they're true or false or not. So we have to be mindful of where we are and stick to being productive economically and efficiently, and keep our culture private, which is our magic, private, and only promulgate it when we're promulgating it just like everybody else does. If they put out a cartoon show, they're not telling you how many different types of rituals are incorporated into the images or what the images mean to the brain. They're just doing it. So we got a brother in here that could run a whole cartoon network for us with images and themes. You see what I'm saying? So we have to take people like that who have those gifts, give them some money so that they can be free from having to go to work and do what they do, and then we'll see their talents get magnified. That's how you get Hollywood. All right? But you can't get it with phony leadership. And that is your number one problem. All right?
Chief, quick question. Is that what happened in Dr. York? Because we all know he was very successful business-wise, setting up land, setting up structures. Like, what really went wrong with that? Do you know?
I'm saying he was not successful business-wise. He made a lot of money, but making a lot of money doesn't mean you have a good business structure. Business structure means that you're dotting all your I's and T's on paperwork, and there's no loose strings, and you don't have loose people operating. Because if there's loose strings, then it's a window. It's a window for a tax issue, it's a window for a permit issue, it's a window for all these other issues that you can get thrown at, and then now that you haven't met those things, we're going to send in these guys. And these guys' job is to shut down what you're running, because you got these violations going on, you got these things going on.
And that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. I know the business side, I don't know the personal side, I won't speak on the personal side. The personal stuff is immaterial. But the business structure side, and it led to his own case, which has been a continual business fallout, where you have 7 different arguments of who you are. And you're putting in one thing to the Supreme Court, another thing to the state of Georgia. See, I drafted the documents. I got them on the computer right now. I can bring them up. So I had to look and vet through these things, and it was just a lot of disorganization. He had a lot of agents around him. And I think that's why a lot of people don't do it, because they don't know what to do. You see what I'm saying? We start talking about tax exemption, they look. So it's just a matter of the awareness factor. All right, so let me come out of that. So this is our agenda. Keep it short and sweet. Our agenda is to be at the march, and this is no joke, with ID machines.
With ID.
And printers to nationalize people. Period. Our intent will be that, besides whatever else we do. We're going to be right there like, who wants to nationalize? We don't have enough machines right here. We want to burn the machines up. But we'll have enough to cover enough. Who wants to nationalize? Period. Who wants to if you want to nationalize into a body politic, that's why we're here. We already sent the information to it. If people reject it, that's cool. Let's just keep it moving. Because it's not something that we have to ask to do. We're going to continue to do it.
I'm sure you communicated with Minister Farrakhan in the past. Has he responded to you?
He has, in some ways. I've met Mr. Farrakhan on 3 different occasions personally, and I've corresponded with him in writing. I think that he does have a full knowledge of how to do it. I don't know how, what their plan is with it. So I can't speak on it. But it's just like hip hop back in the day. The streets created what hip hop became. Now, when you get the clone hip hop is dumping the music down back to the people instead of the culture coming from the street. So what our people have to realize is that the control mechanisms are always amongst the people on the ground. And even though you have a figurehead who can bring people together, his job is done when he brings them together and gives them the inspirational message. What will the foot soldiers do to carry it out? And even if we don't agree with something that he does or whatever, that doesn't matter. It's not, because we don't, I mean, it's not personal. Is when you're thinking about what's good for the group, think about what's good for the group. We don't have to agree on ideological things, Qurans, Bibles, interpretations, whether you follow the messenger's teachings or not. Yeah. It doesn't matter because that's personal.
That's one of the things I've noticed in the past, you know, that they've never addressed the issue of nationality, the Nation of Islam. They call themselves the Nation of Islam, and I imagine that one day plan to evolve into a nation, but they haven't, I've never heard them address the issue of nationality.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Elijah Muhammad addressed it, and his direct words were that after he was gone, that the local mob structure should not be in place, that it should operate literally, and this is words, as a government. And I've used those words. He did 1972 interview where he talked about that. I think his ideology was to clean the people up first, because they're in the moral state that they're in. If they created something, it would be just as corrupt as what's already here. So,
Purity first.
yeah, exactly. And then the subsequent, Noble Drew Ali, and the ones that came, before, they were my blogging. They all had that aspect too. I think that's a very important aspect. But yeah, that's the issue. The issue of them talking about it directly. You see what I'm saying? Or it being a part of the direct agenda. That doesn't have to be something that you hide. You can hide strategy sometimes, and you have to put your strategy out. But there are nations on the earth. You see what I'm saying? Like, people put out budgets and programmatic things every year, all 200 plus nations. There's no reason why we can't do the same thing. And there is resistance.
And we're going to survive, right?
Yeah. Or we're not going to survive. That's right.
Yeah, my question was, when we go, where are we going on our get together to go to DC? How many of us, and where are we going to meet at? What type of equipment we're going to need to nationalize? Would that be from here, one set place?
Yeah, that'll be all in writing. We haven't laid out a schematic for how many tents we need, how many machines we need, but within the next few weeks, that'll be on paper. By September, I'll say by mid-September, we have it all written down, so the nationals will know where they can volunteer, how they can help, what we're doing, how we're gonna get down there and everything.
Some of us can just still put that money up there.
Yeah. If they want to donate, they can. We ain't gonna wait, but if they want to donate, they can. You know what I mean? The things that we want to do is come with this thing in writing, have it out to everybody, and then be down there to nationalize people. And then let them know what this is about. This is what you're doing. So when you go back to your local areas, we need all your information. So now when you go back, you represent us, and then we can come there and help you open up shop.
In an attempt to nationalize more people, how do you deal with the fact that you're still locked into the U.S. citizen issue? How are you going to extract them from that?
The nationality itself will extract them, and then showing them how to do business and contract. Because once you, for lack of a better term, expatriate from that aspect, your dilemma is how do I go back and do business? So that's something that we already have pretty well outlined for the essential things that people do as far as contracts. So that's a matter of teaching people how to re-engage contract properly and spreading that message. And then also getting them gradually out of benefit mentality, because it is the benefit mentality that locks you into contracts and pull you back into having to, acquiesce whatever it is that you have to do. We should still be able to get a mortgage, open up a bank account, trade, do commerce. Everything that we do now, we should still be able to do, which we do. We just have to make it popular amongst our people. How do we do that? Second thing is we have to teach them that they've never been citizens. not constitutional citizens. What they were was subjects who were given privileges to participate. And with the colloquialism around the concept of being a U.S. citizen, which they're really not. They're subjects. 14% of 14 subjects. So that's a different thing. They think that our people believe that after slavery they got the same thing that everybody else got, and that's what they don't realize they didn't. And that has to be explained to them. You know what I mean? We do that in the book, Lost Aboriginal Heritage of the so-called Negro African American. We make it clear, but yeah, we just got to create a whole educational platform around. You've never been a citizen. You believe you're a citizen. You're a subject operating off of these privileges and benefits, and with no identity, no identity. Being a subject citizen is not a nationality. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with your performance in trade and commerce only.
So you do hold classes that will enable those people to take those classes and understand how the contract will function.
Well, our plan this year, from October going through February to March, is to run the Aboriginal University out of the house on Abbott Street. So I'm pretty much taking everything out of there, and those are going to be classrooms. So the same thing that we do with the jurist and the doctor's program, you know, we do it via webinar. Sometimes we do it live. We'll be running it out of the house, you know, so people can come sit in the classroom. Same thing they're doing now, but just in a more formalized setting. Till we get a facility, you know, get enough money to get a facility to do that. So the idea is, yes, we'll be having those types of classes where people can come in, sit down, and be like, okay, how do I do this? How do I function in society if I'm not going to be a slave?
That's something I've been struggling with for quite a while. I haven't yet gotten the clear understanding of how to master that. So I'm kind of like half in and half out. I'm trying to get out.
Right. Well, we come back from a long time ago, and we come back from the time period in this, and it helped us get a broader aspect, but I think a lot of the sovereign citizen stuff creates a lot of injury. It creates an injury because it's a perpetual cascade of trying to figure out how to link, you know, how to do business. Yeah, it's a perpetual cascade. And some of the stuff, the concept that they have, it's too, what's the word? I don't even know what the word is. It's too separatist in the sense of the model is teaching you, or even the straw man model is teaching you all these things and these concepts of how to get away, and getting away is not the issue. It's engaging without encumbering yourself, status-wise, economically-wise, and those things. So yeah, that's what's been attached.
Just piggyback on this question, because this question is really dealing with what I'm dealing with going right now. Like, I've been in the clinical research field for almost.
Clinical research. I'll repeat. Yeah, but he wants everybody to hear.
All right.
Go ahead, bro.
I've been in the clinical research field for almost 8-9 years right now. I have a lot of experience dealing with like processes of getting like a drug from phase 1 process, you know, like researching animals, people, you know, to checking for efficacy, safety, and comparing drugs. The question is, now that I'm about to join Honor, how do I transfer those skills? See, I think this is going to be a big question for other people who, I'm not talking about like young kids, maybe 18, 17, they're still, you know, they don't have any jobs or skills. But those are folks who are in 30, 40, or whatever, and we're already involved in a skill set that we have. And right now, Honor is not set up, you know, to deal with that kind of skill set that we have. How do we plug it into your system or into the system?
Right. It's two things. We have to look at our 12 ministries and see where that would fit, or if it fits at all. All right. So what you have to ask yourself is, in your particular genre of work, who are the founders of that, and what is their business model objectives at the end game? Because if they're taking drugs through different phases to test, what are they doing that for? What is the end game? And is that something that we want to incorporate, let's say, under Ministry 6? which is the health, nutritional, and medicine type of thing. And if we did incorporate it, how would we incorporate it? You see what I'm saying? So some of that model would not fit. I can just say some of it won't even fit because the objective of the people who created that particular model was to create unnecessary medicinal interfaces. Some of them.
I don't understand.
All right. So you're talking about taking a drug through its different stages, right? To be tested so it can qualify to be used. It could be something that's used on plants, animals, or people. Okay. So I have certain medicines, right? I will never have to take some of them through certain models because of the structural components of what I'm giving to a plant, animal, or a person. Because a high preponderance of what you're dealing with is toxic substances. It has to go through certain classifications because it's a medical illusion created by Europeans for money. Follow me? So if you introduce substances that are more nature-based and efficient in a concentrated form, you could take those same stages of development, but at the end it would be used to help instead of to continue to injure. You follow me?
Right.
So you can still have the processing.
Exactly. That's what
The processing. So the processing is a matter of taking out of the model what you don't need anymore because of you're not testing those toxic things, regenerating a new model and saying, I would like to propose to the Aboriginal Medical Association this new model for implementing this particular medicinal thing.
Yeah.
So that would be you proposing to AMA. You know, that particular thing.
Like for example, I'm working on a water project right now where what I've noticed in the conscious community, like they bring out all these products, you know, this water is alkaline, you know, this water this, buy it, it's gonna help your body, but nobody really has done any critical tests on it because like we do food sample and lines tests, we do pH test, like pH test is nothing. After that, if somebody tells you water is 7.9 or whatever, it doesn't mean anything because it doesn't tell you
what's in it.
ppm. If water has minerals, if it has what's
ammonia,
does it have oxygen in it? How many per liter, per
parts per million
billion? Even if it has those nutrients you're talking about, is it bioavailable to the body? So there's a lot of things going on in the community that I think maybe somebody
that's not
like
our
me,
community, so we can't speak on it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. That we might be able to contribute to make things more clear and you bring in more people. But that's the question I'm asking because I don't know how to plug in yet. I've written a protocol right now for a water project that I'm working with some brothers. A full protocol. What to test, dieting, all that kind of stuff, how you test it, you know, how do you get results at the end of the day. Secondary, primary points you're looking for. So what I'm asking is this something that will work with Arnold?
See, it's two things you're dealing with.
Right.
You're dealing with a business model and you're dealing with the medical model. So you have the ability to create the business in honor and you have the ability to create or present AMA with your structural model. Because either you're going to have the business model operating, which you can do without presenting to AMA. You don't need to present that to AMA. But if you have a structural model that is for adding an educational component to implement that, as a service model by credentialing people, then you have to present that. You know what I mean? So, but I want to make sure he's finished on his point. So he's good.
Yeah, because like right now, for example, water right now. For you to actually find out what's in the water, they have different tests. You have the ionic test, spectrometry, magnetic test. Those things are expensive. To buy those equipment to actually find out what's in the water. Now I can bring in anything I want and say spring water, this is from nature, buy it. And that's what most people out here are doing. They're just selling products. Nobody really knows what ship. Like, okay, you go from point A to point B. Where were you right now? You took analyzer test that you give. How did that help you get from point A to point B? Is that even something that you want to do? Or no? That's the question I have. Because I think
if it's for an area that we're not doing, we definitely will. We have to have the business in operation, and then the studies that were done. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, people have to carry out their own independent studies. It's the same thing that they do with the American Medical Association. A doctor carries out a study, he presents it to the AMA, and then it goes through chains of command, the FDA, and then it goes through. Troy.
Yes.
And let's sum these points up, and then come.
Two different to speak to something you said and something you said. Actually, one of our brothers within the community is doing some of those things. And actually, the only reason why I market the alkaline water is because they did take it through all 3 water tests that they had, which is to check the. I think that has a negative charge to it. Or they also looked at the dirt per whatever, and it was very, very low, and the pH balance, and they actually did all the different tests before they started, because his brother Tony Moore, he's at 10th and Olney, Center for Nutrition and Herbs, so he is on top of stuff like that, and he looks for efficacy for us. And so we do have some people doing that, just so you know. It's not, people aren't just marketing water and saying, hey, this is the best water for nothing. They do it because they literally took and bought the meters to test those things out. So some of us are that are within this conscious community are actually doing those things to make sure that when we make those statements that they're tried and true.
And then see what happens further is when we bring those entities under one body politic,
right,
it strengthens the message of what the brother is trying to say, because essentially what he's trying to say is, do we have a credentialing body, or do we have the ability to go through whatever? The United States has that because they have a tax structure, they have a body politic.
Right.
So we have people who have that level of expertise, who are just coming on, or we're forming those particular things, into existence, and can continue to work to form them.
The second thing, earlier you had said, that we have these dependencies on these programs that are set up, and they're really set up to keep us locked in. However, one of the things I personally have been working on is working on a very systematic structure to help us get out of those things, and we can create those for ourselves. We don't need someone else outside of us to create for us programs that can help us in cases of circumstances that occur beyond our normal experiences. So those things have to be put in place. That's going to take time to build, but we do have things, and we can talk about that, those different things. And eventually we'll be doing a full presentation on it and sharing with the group those things you can put in place to create that dynamic for yourself and for your family and future generations. And one of the things that we have not done is set our next generation up to win big. I'm not talking about just win. I'm talking about win big, where when they walk in to their 18th birthday as millionaires. That's a whole new dynamic. So now the whole thing you just talked about with creating those things, their minds are open because they're not wondering, how am I going to pay the bill? How am I going to get my car? How am I going to pay for the baby? Because they already walked into economic success. So we're working on those structures to make sure that they're in place to foster that. So.
Any other questions or comments? If you don't have anything to do tomorrow and y'all want to come up to New York, the National Black Theater, we'll be going over the IRG in fuller detail. So, it's always good when you have larger groups, because you get to, first of all, network and meet a whole lot more people. And they've already formed their 5 groups already and submitted their information to me. So I'm going home tonight to edit it, so we can do our preliminary edit. And then they're going to go in again tomorrow. We're adding more details to it. And then we're going to go to the writing stage. So we got some good things on the horizon. No matter how large or small it is, we just got to stay focused on it and get it done. And then once you get one thing done, you can get another thing done. Once you get more assets, you can reinvest it or collateralize it. But at least, we're in the vein of having some structure, having the proper communication, and moving in the right direction. It doesn't matter if it's just a few hundred people, if it turns into a few thousand, or if it ultimately becomes millions. If there's only 500 of us and we are efficient 500, that's a lot.
And I think the key element to that is functionality, adaptability, and sustainability.
Yeah. Those last two especially. which have been major obstacles.
One of the things you have to remember as well, and I'm glad you just mentioned that. Let's say God forbid it was only 50 of us, which that's not going to do. But let's say it was. One thing you have to recognize is there is a law within business called the law of momentum. Momentum doesn't occur by an instant thing. It occurs as you move along. So if you start pushing a car, in the beginning it's extremely hard. If you're the only one, it may take you a while to get it moving. But when you take a group of people and you begin to move that, then what occurs is that it's quicker, and it puts you into a different space, and the velocity behind it picks up faster. So one of the things you'll recognize is that I've learned in business and going to any type of big event is if you get 100 people to an event that changes the way they see things and perceive things, it changes their life forever. Right. And no one can ever, once the mind is stretched, you can't go back to its natural place. So because it has stretched so far, what's going to happen is they're going to be hungry. So they search you out, and they seek for you, and they look for it. And so as long as you're consistent, like you just got finished saying, doing those things that you know to do, putting your hand to it, what you're going to find is that energy is going to galvanize, and it's going to keep on building and building and building. And eventually, we won't be able to fit in this space. We won't be able to fit, we'll keep on growing to the point where we have to keep upgrading. So, let's just put it together. Each one bring one. Just imagine we brought somebody next week, and the week after we brought more people and more people and more people. Eventually, we would be at that front door. Eventually we'd have to, have a bigger space. So, same thing's going to happen when we go to, DC. Thing is, the more people we take, the more we're going to be able to pull together. But it doesn't matter how many we take because it's going to grow no matter what. So the thing is, if the train is going 500 miles going toward the east, and you step in front of it, which way are you going? And that's what's going to end up happening.
And we also just on the point, we need to, considering this class, because this class is going to grow very quickly. Believe me, these chairs are going to start filling in. We need to stay up to how we're going to run this orientation class. E-books available, so you can go. Those are the books we're going to use for this curriculum in this class. All right, we're going to literally go in to the materials that you need in these areas that we're talking about: law, health, education, economics, and even arts and culture. We're going to go into each one of these things and have components that are business operative, educational operative, and institutional operative types of things that we're already doing. All right, so you can go to BlackandNobel and get those books, and we should update our strategy. If you have a tablet, a phone, you can download these materials. So even if you take the courses, you can get the hard copy, but if you want to come in class and stay up on the material, and we're going over something that has to do with Aboriginal heritage, and we're talking about the lost Aboriginal heritage of the so-called Negro, we got the photos, the books, you can download the PDF right there. You got it right in your phone as I'm talking. You see what I'm saying? So we can stay abreast. Now you won't have to argue and fight with people about you being indigenous. Oh, we all from Africa, nigga, you trying to be an Indian. You know how people get, they get sick. You see what I'm saying? Not knowing that both of those terms are misnomers, right? That confuses our genetic pool on the continent and here. And when we erase them, we find a world where those populations traded, married, and lived amongst each other before any European incursion. So introducing that type of concept breaks away the curse of 1492, where we think all of our interfacing came from slavery or Europeans or whatever, wipe all of that away, and all you see is a global perspective for our people, which is what we're trying to move them into anyway. Business, culture, and these things. So we got to erase those things. The only way to erase those things is through education. So definitely want to get that. If you want to get your Dick Gregory tickets from BlackandNobel, you know anybody, tell them that they can come here. BlackandNobel, besides the cabinet or anybody, it's the only local distributor of the tickets at this point, so they can get their tickets. And if you get your tickets and you're watching online at BlackandNobel, get your tickets from BlackandNobel, you get a free book. All right, so come see Tyson on that point. Any other questions before we get out of here?
Just a quick question. I don't mean to be like a sound buster, blood buster, back buster, whatever you want to call it, but do we have a plan for the youth? I'm talking about the youth. I'm talking about people from ages 15 to 20, 30, 29, 30. Tell me what y'all see. Hold on. Do we have a plan of attack? Because that's where the United States is attacking. They're attacking the young people. And by the time they get up to my age, you know, like, I'm lucky to be conscious about what's going on. A lot of people my age already set in their ways. Do we have a plan going into the Million March to address this youth?
I think we're addressing everybody. I don't think we're leaving anybody out. And the things that the United States uses to attract the youth, we're constructing. You see what I'm saying? They're using music, all right? They're using art and culture as the preliminary vices, and then they're using the benefit system to pull them in, either through being impoverished, or if you want to get educated, the handout that you'll get a good job, even though that might not happen. So all of the ways that we're doing it with Aboriginal University, with the Arts and Cultural Indigenous Group resource that we formed, with all these, we're attacking the youth, we're attacking all of them at the same time. So yeah, that's the summary. We have specific things that specific people are doing for you, and that's a more detailed discussion.
But I'm asking personally because I want to deal with youth. I'm good with them. Okay? It's arts, music.
Yeah, if you come to New York tomorrow, you can be a part of the Indigenous Resource Group, Arts and Culture Group, that's headed, and you can become a part of the discussion of that component and how it affects our people overall with a specificity and focus on the youth. So there's a whole group, that's dealing with that now, and they're formulating ideas for the march, all right, to single out and isolate arts and culture as a business model, as a healing model, as all those models that we can think of that operates. All right, so family, we're good. Thank you for coming out today. Nobel, give yourselves a round of applause. All right. If you can, go outside and get some of this good sun today. It's gonna be a shame for you to talk about how hot it is out here. That means you need to get rid of some of those amines you got in your body. And if there's anybody who needs to see me, come on and see me so we can get out of here and review ourselves. Make sure you support BlackandNobel. Get somebody a gift, a DVD, a book, some shea butter, something with them, a t-shirt, or whatever it may be. Travel safely. Destination. We love you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Talk to me. I didn't. I used it though. What? That stuff is powerful, brother. Yeah, I ran out of it. I reached out, I was using it like, man, good. You about that. You gotta tell me where to get it from. So you're gonna PDF everybody there? Can I get the CMOS? CMOS. Well, you know what? It's interesting because I'm taking the position that it represents the female ancestor Ishkel, because she was the only one that was associated with stars or Venus. So it represents women, Venus, and she was over the birth practices, Ishkel. So they would put her inside of a crescent, and she would be holding a rabbit. And they'll put a star, in Islam, inside of a crescent, but in Mexico, it's deeper.
Yes, sir.
So my point, I think it represents a woman, birth, and they will put it on the turtle because the reason why they use the turtle, because the turtle is or the tortoise is the oldest animal in creation. Like scientists do, you know what I mean? You test on animals to find out who the lineage is. That particular animal is older than all of the sharks, the dolphins, all of them. The fossils is the oldest. So they had to know something about that animal. You see what I'm saying? And then it became a part of the conceptual, and it represents the mound. You know, the turtle back, the mound building. And the stars represent, they built the mound based on astronomy. You know what I mean? So they lined it up and stuff. So they had a whole. Yeah, I would agree. At that time, it was good because it was so new to our people. Creating a separate ideology. What he did is he separated the culture. So he created the temple so that they could come in and get the cultural aspect and then learn the legal side. That's why he said divine and national. The divine side is what we had that we took away from. The national side was, okay, how do we interface, being part and parcel of the said government. So, some